I first of all offer millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astottara Sarashishi Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astottara Sarashishi Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. And all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, Dandavat pranams. So today we're going to be studying Shakti Tattva. But just to recap briefly, we've been discussing the wonderful verse. So if you just look at the verse for a minute, and we can just again go through it. If we go through it regularly, day by day, then it'll begin to make an impression. So, Amnaya Praha Tattvam. You have it, Adam? You don't? Amnaya Praha Tattvam. This Amnaya. So, Amnaya Praha Tattvam. This, the teachings of the Vedas that are received through the Amnaya, through the Guru Parampara, disciplic succession, is the only way to be assured that we have the real thing. Many scriptures historically have been what is called interpolated. That means that other things have been written into them. They're not completely true. You can't really trust them. So this Amnaya means that they have not been interpolated at all. They're completely as it was originally spoken. This is the Shruti and the Smriti. The Shruti is what is heard, has been spoken by Krishna. And the Shruti and the Smriti, Smaranam, what is remembered. This is the different aspects of the scripture, the Puranas and the Itihasyas, etc. So we've discussed at length the Praman Tattva. And yesterday we discussed something of Krishna Tattva. That's Harim Iha Paramam. Harim is like Hari. Harim Iha Paramam. Paramam means topmost. Para. Paramam. Paramatma, for example. The Atma that is topmost. Paramatma. Don't know what's that. So now today it's Sarva Shaktim. And tomorrow will be Rasabdim. So you see this first line, Amnaya Praha Tattvam Harim Iha Paramam Sarva Shaktim Rasabdim. So very simple really. If we familiarize ourselves with this verse, then if we say it every day, for example, for a few months, we'll have it very clearly in the memory bank. And whenever we're speaking to anybody about Krishna consciousness, we can just make reference to these 9 prameyas. Am I speaking something about Krishna, Krishna's energies, the sweetness of Krishna, Krishna rasa? Am I speaking about the jiva, the liberated jivas, the bound jivas? Am I speaking about the reconciliation between the two, or the relationship between the two, this number 8? Am I speaking about the path to attain that Krishna consciousness, this Shuddha Bhaktim? Am I teaching about the Prayojan, this Krishna Priti, the sweetness? So all of these, this is all there is in the whole of the scripture ultimately. It's a real jewel, this Dasmula, to have it in this form that I've just described, in the hand, in a nutshell. Not at all difficult. 3 about Krishna, 3 about the jiva, a reconciliation of their relationship. What is the path and what is the prayojan? That's all it is, actually. And then we can fluff it out, we can open it out extensively from there. So Amnaya Praha Tattvam. What is this Tattva? It's presented by these realized souls, Apurushaya. They're not conditioned souls, they don't have those 4 defects. There's Brahm, Pramad, Vipralapsa and Karanapatava. This illusion about the self, this Pramad making cheating or error, Vipralapsa. Oh, Vipralapsa is cheating. Pramad is like error or madness actually. And Karanapatava is imperfect senses. So these 4 defects the conditioned soul is with. But in the line that is coming originally from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or from Krishna originally, it can be traced. It is called Apurushaya. It's not tainted by these defects at all. So we're getting the whole fruit, we're getting the whole picture. So this is our Naya Praha Tattvam, and then Harim Iha Paramam. Topmost Tattva is Krishna. This is what we discussed in a nutshell yesterday. In a nutshell yesterday, we discussed Krishna Tattva as Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead, and how he's the creator of all the worlds, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matahar Sarvam Prabhavo, how everything is emanating from him. Atah Parataram Nanyet Kischin Asti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Idam Portram Sutre Manigana Iva. Like pearls on a thread, Krishna is holding everything up. Very beautiful verses from the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So now we're coming into Krishna's energy. So there is the... Oh, Janava's not here. Just said your name. It means you're going to live for a long time. I just said you, because I was thinking about you a lot, and you're not feeling comfortable with no existence in the Brahmajyoti. And I have the answer for you. I can show you. I have it. I've been thinking for 2 days about this, and now I have it. I'll come to it. Yes, you can't get stuck in the Brahmajyoti. Okay, so we have Krishna, and we have Krishna's energy, and we have Krishna's sweetness. 3 distinct aspects of Krishna. When we're talking about Krishna's sweetness, this is Rasa Tattva. We'll discuss tomorrow Rasa Tattva. But it's different from Krishna being the supreme controller. It's like a king, for example. He has his empire to control, but he also has his family, his children, his grandchildren, etc., which invoke a totally different mood, a totally different reality practically. It's not the same reality. It's different altogether. So this Rasa Tattva is different from the, you can say Atma Tattva or Krishna Tattva or Chit Tattva, like that. It's a different perspective entirely. But today it's Krishna's energy, Krishna's potency. So there's one verse that is a very beautiful verse which describes this. Radha Purna Shakti. Krishna Purna Shaktiman. Dui Vastu. Dua Vastu. Veda Nai. Shastra Praman. That's all. So Radha Purna. Purna, full, like Purnima. Radha Purna Shakti. Radha is the full Shakti. And Krishna Purna Shaktiman. Krishna is the full energetic source, the origin of the energy. So you have the energetic source, or the potent, and the potency. This is Radha and Krishna. Then Dui. Dui means 2. Dui Vastu. Vastu means a single object, that which has existence. For example, the Brahmajyoti is not a Vastu, Janava. It's not a Vastu because actually the light is an attribute from the source. The source is the object. The source is the Vastu. But the light itself is like an attribute of the Vastu. It's not in itself complete, is it? Because it's coming from a source. Therefore, it's described as not having pure existence. Because it's just an adjective. It's just a light that comes from a source. The source, the object, that has existence. But the light from it is a part of that object. So it's a separated aspect, so to speak, like an adjective. Like we can say, for example, that Janava exists. But her good qualities, in a sense, they don't have substance to them. They're just like in the ether. So that doesn't have existence. But the body of Janava has existence. That's an object. So this is the distinction, actually. But we'll discuss more of this when we come to the different levels of energy that manifest the worlds. So, Dui means two. Dui Vastu. Two Vastus. The energy and the energetic. Dui Vastu Bade. Bade means difference. And Nahi means no difference. Dui Vastu Bade Nahi. So there's no difference between these two Vastus. Do you understand? Clearly. What do you understand? The terminology won't be easy for you because you haven't been familiar with the terminology. So that'll take a while to grasp. But try and understand what is a Vastu. Right? I've just explained. A Vastu is an all-abiding object. It's the sum and substance. Krishna is the supreme Vastu. The embodiment of the Jiva is also a Vastu. And the material energy or Maya is a Vastu. It's a bit like, in English we say, an element. An element can't be broken down any further. If you say water, it's an element. It's an essential element. There's nothing that you can break down further than that. There are 5 principal elements, right? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are they stand alone, and they can't be broken down. So a Vastu is like that, but on a much bigger scale. A Vastu. If you look in the glossary of terms in the back of Jivadharma, you can read what is the description there, and it's very short. It simply says a thing. It has existence. Right. It's not difficult. It's not a difficult topic. None of this is difficult. It says an object. Yes, it is there. It says it's in the back. It's on page 946 in the glossary of terms. Vastu, an object, thing, or substance, that which has existence. This is how I understood the answer to your question when I read this. A Vastu has existence, and the light is coming from a Vastu. It doesn't have its own separate existence. All light is depending on a source. If there was such a thing as light without a source, then it could be called a Vastu. But there's no such thing in existence, so it doesn't exist. That's the truth. Huh? It means impersonal. The light is the impersonal. We won't get there yet. Let's build a little picture first of Krishna's potency and what manifests from his potency. So this is a very beautiful verse. Radha Purna Shakti. Krishna Purna Shaktiman. Radha is full Shakti. Krishna is the full source or energetic. And then Dui Vastu Beda Nahi. That these are two Vastus, but they're not any different. So Radha and Krishna are not different. It's like the beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritya Kladini Shakti Asmat Ekat Manav Api Bhuvo. This verse is saying that Radha and Krishna are Ekat, they're one. This is the same as Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shakti Man. It's the same principle, that Radha and Krishna are one in the sense of Tattva. But when it comes to Leela, they have separated, because Krishna, in his astonishing way, has given independence to what he has created. This is not so difficult to understand. It's like if you have a child. The child automatically has complete independence of the mother. It can choose to be affectionate to the mother, or it can reject the mother. Right? This jewel of independence is there by the Lord's arrangement in every single living entity, and we should understand why it's there. There's only one reason why it's there. It's there so that affection or love can take place between the two objects. If there was not independence, like yesterday we were talking about this table, not having independence, it cannot have relationship, it cannot have love. And in the spiritual reality, the only principal existence is love. That's the principal quality, prem. Prem is actually orchestrating the entire arrangement in Goloka Vrindavan. So love is the principle. So without independence, there can be no relationship. Therefore, Sri Radha has complete independence in a sense. She is dependent on pleasing Krishna, but nevertheless she has independent way of doing that. Otherwise, how could they have the topmost divine relationship without that independence? So Gurudev has described so many times that from Krishna's left-hand side springs Sri Radha. And Sri Radha is the embodiment of all Swarup Shakti. Swarup, Krishna's own form, Shakti. Therefore, all other Shaktis are manifesting from this principal Shakti. All other Shaktis. That means Sandhini Shakti, or the Sat potency. That function is coming from Swarup Shakti. That is Baladeva Prabhu. And from Krishna's right-hand side comes Gopeshwar Mahadev to arrange and guard, you can say, the Rasa Leela, Advamsivat. This is actually where Gopeshwar Mahadev manifests. So these two personalities, many times the devotees think that, oh, Balaram manifested from Krishna directly. How could he? These manifestations require energy to manifest them. Krishna is simply desiring. Gurudev has described, try and understand this deeply. Gurudev has described that Krishna cannot even walk without the energy of Radha to do that. She is giving him the energy. Radha is his energy. It's his Swarup. It's his own form, Shakti. It's his Swarup Shakti. That's what the Tattva of Sri Radha is. So from that Swarup Shakti, and if you read this chapter carefully in Jaivadharma, it's describing, for example, the three functions it describes as Sat, Chit, Ananda. They are manifested from Swarup Shakti. All energy in existence is coming from Radha. Radha is independent in the way that she acts, etc. But ultimately, she's entirely dependent actually on Krishna. And there's a very simple example. If you take a candle, the light, the flame, is the only original origin, right? Is the flame. Then the next energy or the heat that comes from the candle, which is like Swarup Shakti, is entirely dependent on the flame being there. If the flame wasn't there for a second, the heat would immediately go away. Whereas the flame itself is not dependent on the heat. The flame, so really that Supreme Purush, or that Supreme Independent Soul, that Sri Krishna, that Supreme Personality, he is actually the only independent entity in existence. But he has given apparent independence to all the jivas in this world, to the different parikas, etc., for the sake of his pastimes. It would seem that but we don't actually ourselves even have independence. We have to sleep, we have to go to the bathroom, we're forced to do so many other things, right, that perhaps we don't even want to do. Independence means that if I desire it to rain right now, it will rain. And only Krishna has that power. But he has given that power to Radha. She is his energy. So it's as if Radha is totally independent. But ultimately in Tattva, she's not. But in Rasa, which is higher than Tattva, we have to understand this clearly. When we first approach Krishna consciousness and swim in the philosophies, etc., it would seem that the foundation, the core, is the Tattva Siddhanta. But certainly as we proceed in our practices, the Lila or Rasa Tattva becomes so much more important to our state of consciousness, so vital. Our relationships become so essential. We don't want to disturb people in their lives, etc. We want to maintain harmonious relationships. It's so paramount to our practice. Whereas in the early stages, if you had a friend and then lost them, whatever. I'm speaking on a very basic platform to try and understand the highest reality. Can you understand? So we have to appreciate this difference between the tattva and the rasa. The tattva is described like the horse, and the rider is the rasa vichar. There's tattva vichar and rasa vichar. So yesterday we discussed principally the tattva vichar. Now, because we're talking about Shakti, the rasa consideration will come in. He's asking, can one come before the other? It's like the fire and the heat. In a sense, you can say, yes, of course, the heat comes after the fire. So, in an instantaneous, but there was never a time when Krishna didn't exist. So there's never a time when his energy has not existed. Just like we can say, did Mahaprabhu come first? Or did Radha and Krishna come first? You cannot get into that debate because there's no end to that. So in a sense,
the explanation of the scientific idea behind the whole process, and Radha, the actual experience that is behind it.
The tattva is like the platform. The tattva creates the environment. Just for example, like our social behavior here, we have to act in certain respectful ways to each other. And when we do act in those respectful ways, then some very beautiful sweetness may come in the heart as a result of that. As a result of our behavior in a good mundane way, so to speak, you're behaving nicely, speaking properly, social, interaction, and then from that will develop the sweetness of relationship. It's like it's described in the spiritual world, for example, the Chit Shakti itself. How can we understand the working of the knowledge potency in Goloka Vrindavan? Do they have libraries of books? Are they listening to CDs, by Gurudev or whatever? They have brahmanas learning mantras, etc. What does knowledge look like in Goloka Vrindavan? Because the Chit Shakti is really prominent. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur described very clearly that this knowledge potency is knowledge of my relationships. What is my relationship with Mother Yashoda today? What is my relationship with Nanda Baba? What is my relationship with Sridham? What is my relationship with Srimati Radharani? What is my relationship with Krishna? Only knowledge of relationships. And then the taste of those relationships, the sweetness of those relationships, is embodied in the Ananda or Hladini Shakti. That's what the Hladini Shakti is. It's the taste of the relationship. This is how Bhaktivinoda Thakur very clearly describes. So, in a sense, tattva is always there, but as a result of that tattva, like for us practicing sadhaks, we must know the tattva. This is why Krishna tattva, which we discussed yesterday, was first. And now is Shakti tattva. It's a little bit more advanced. Now we've got the potent and the potency. Yesterday it was just the potent, right? Yesterday it was just Krishna Shakti. Now, or Krishna's tattva rather. Now it's Krishna's potency. How is his potency manifesting? And then tomorrow the two will come together in the rasa. You see, Krishna Tattva, Krishna Shakti, or yes, Krishna Shakti, Sarva Shakti, and then the rasa, the taste of that. So it's a very sublime evolution or progression that we're walking through. So, coming to the topic now, let me just read this Das Mula, which is describing, this is on page 330 in the blue edition of the Jivadharma. It's saying, although Sri Bhagavan is non-different from his inconceivable transcendental potency. This was the first thing we said. Radha Krishna Purna Shakti, no, Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shakti Man. Dui Vastu Beda Nahi Shastra Praman. This non-difference, this is what we've already discussed. He has his own independent nature and desires. Krishna nevertheless is independent and he still has his desires, but he can't fulfill those desires without his energy. Radha represents the Kriya Shakti, or the Shakti of activity. This is the description of the Kriya Shakti that is coming from Radha. From Baladeva Prabhu is coming Bal Shakti. Bal Shakti is power, potency, strength. And from Krishna is coming knowledge, Chit Shakti. From Radha is coming this Kriya, this activity. The Para Shakti. Now this is all called Para Shakti. Para means topmost, like we've just described when we're describing Krishna's Tattva in this verse. Harim Iha Paramam, topmost. So this topmost Tattva is what we're going to discuss today, which is Shakti Tattva. His Para Shakti consists of three aspects. Chit Shakti, that's spiritual potency. Jiva Shakti, that's the marginal potency. And Maya Shakti, the external potency or inferior energy. And he always inspires them to engage in their respective functions. So nothing's independent of Krishna, ultimately. This is what we discussed a little bit yesterday in this Advaya Gyan Paratattva. Advaya, one. Nothing in existence is separate from Krishna. This is how we can understand this more deeply. This meditation that we're explaining, that we're going through, is very fortifying for our bhajan. It's very, strengthening, nourishing for every aspect of our devotional life. When these truths are discussed and talked about and understood even a little bit, then that spiritual reality is much more deeply impressed within the consciousness. You can't slip out really ever again. And if you do slip out, you're very aware that you are slipping out. So when you get slapped, you know very well why. So you don't complain because you know that I'm the one who made the mistake. And therefore our loving relationship can still keep on developing. Whereas in the material consciousness, when they don't understand that, they think, oh, God doesn't love me anymore. He's making it bad for me, this and that and the other. They become very bewildered. But the devotee is never bewildered. He thinks always, Tatteno kampam susamikshamanam bhunjana evatma kritam vivokam. Kridvag vipobam vadanamdamaste jivetaya mukti padesadaibak. That I am going through my various karmic reactions and I am prepared to suffer these because I'm understanding these are the reactions to the transgressions that I have made myself, and with great patience, knowing that Krishna is going to bestow his mercy on me. Dayabak, because it's my inheritance. I'd come in this line, Krishna must bestow his mercy on me, regardless. Krishna wouldn't say all these beautiful things and then like a father showing something beautiful to his son and then taking it away and saying, well, I'm never going to give it to you. Of course he's going to give it to you. He's showing it and he's going to give it to you. You just have to be patient. It's coming. Just now coming. Yes, yes. Maharaj is saying that we shouldn't get over-elated when the, good fortune comes. Just like the gopis, they had to be purified of their Shubha karma. They had so much good karma, and Krishna had to take that away also in order to perform perfect ras in the Rasa Leela. So we shouldn't get over-elated when the good things happen also. We want to become equipoised always. Yes. That Paratattva, Supreme Absolute Truth, even while performing all these activities, still remains immutable and is eternally situated in the fully transcendental Swarup of his own glory. In other words, Krishna is still gloriously present, even though he has separated himself from his energy, that energetic source. So we have to understand this. It's not difficult to understand in one sense when you think about the flame and the heat. They are one together. They're not like two. It's like Radha and Krishna are one. Krishna's Swarup and himself are one. But when we jump into the consciousness of rasa, then it becomes very distinct. What is Radha thinking is different from what is Krishna thinking. Sometimes, when they reach the stage of pranaya, in this pranaya, they become so much like one that man can come from that. Okay, listen, I want to just go through just the formula, so to speak, just to get a picture. I want you to have this picture very clearly in your minds. This is Paratattva, and it's starting from, we have Sat, Chit, Ananda. These three functions have manifested from Swarup Shakti in order to create all of the environment and inspire the relationships and to bestow the bliss within creation. These three things. Sat creates the environment or the existence. The Chit will inspire knowledge of that existence. And the Ananda will give the bliss that is experienced from tasting that existence. You understand? It's very simple. I remember for many years I was trying to think, what does the Sandini look like? What does the Chit look like? I had to have a picture. If I have a picture, it somehow makes it easier. Sandini is Sat. Samvit is Chit. Hladini is Ananda. These words are completely interchangeable. They've made them like this just to make it difficult. No. Is Sat independent from Chit? Is that what you're saying?
They're all essentially essential.
It depends. This is a big question. Gopi's asking, are they independent of each other? When we consider from the material perspective, coming up to the spiritual reality, yes, they are quite distinct. For example, if you're in this world and you're a jnani, if you're studying the Shastra, you can merge, so to speak, which is actually impossible, but you can, in a sense, merge into the Brahman. And this is described, you only experience the Chit Shakti. This is what we've already discussed. So the Jnanis experience only the Chit Shakti. So in this sense, they are separated, coming from the material sphere up. In the whole picture, they cannot be separated, because ultimately Krishna's body itself is made of Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. That is what his body is made of. And our souls are also have a particle of that same existence there. But if the consciousness chooses to completely disregard the um, aspect of existence of God, if it chooses to just dwell on the illumination and not understand that there is a form, then he will be denied knowledge of the Sat. He will only have that Chit experience. The Brahmajyoti we explained yesterday contains just the Chit Shakti. Then the next type coming from this world is the yogi. The yogi is meditating on Paramatma. Paramatma has form. It has substance. So that form creates existence then. So then it is Sat and Chit. So the yogi will experience these two aspects of Swarup Shakti, the Sat and the Chit. Because for the yogi, he's seeing Paramatma in everyone. So there's a form there. And then for the bhakta, he's experiencing such anand at recognizing Bhagavan. So this is described, immediately in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedanti tat tattva vedas tattvam yajnanam advayam. The second chapter, verse 11. Brahmati, Paramatmati, Bhagavan, iti shabhyate. These three stages or three aspects of Krishna, they're all Krishna, just like the candle and the heat and the light are all the singular candle. But if one chooses just to separate them and meditate on them, then it appears that these functions become separated. They cannot be separated ultimately, but it appears that they do. It seems that they become separated. The Sat, the Chit, and the Ananda. But actually they're all integrally one. So in the Chit Shakti, in the spiritual world, the Sandhini or the Sat potency, whose Ishtadev is Sri Baladeva Prabhu, Balaram, he is responsible for the creation of everything in existence. This includes all of the bodies of all of the parikars, of Nanda, Yashoda, etc. All of the bodies are coming from Sri Baladev Prabhu, except for those that are manifest directly from Sri Radha, Radha's Kaya Vyuha. Initially, it's described here that Radharani manifests 8 gopis, principal gopi, and then from those 8, another 8 come, and from those 8, more come, etc., etc. These are all coming directly from Sri Radha, her Sakis, the Nam Sakis, Priya Nam Sakis, Preshta Sakis, and Pran Sakis. These 4 types of Sakis are all coming from Sri Radha. But everybody else in Goloka Vrindavan, their bodies, not their consciousnesses, are coming from Baladev Prabhu. There's a distinction. Now, the knowledge within those bodies is all manifesting directly from the Chit Shakti, or the Sangvit Shakti, and this is coming, the Ishtadev is Krishna for that Chit or Sangvit Shakti. Do you understand, Sarah? You need to have the map. Pass the map out. If I forget anything, I'll ask you. But it's very clear. It's 3 types of Shakti that are manifesting from Swarup Shakti. The first is Chit Shakti. The second is Jiva Shakti or Tatastha Shakti. And the third is Maya or Bahiranga Shakti. So see these 3 distinct layers. And then we're going into each of those layers just to describe what is the working, what is the influence of the Sat Shakti in the Chit Shakti or the Antaranga Shakti. Not so easy when you don't know the words. It's like another language. Okay, I'll give the English at the same time as the Sanskrit. You understand all this. You've all seen the map so many times, the universal map, so many times. We can remember that. So this Antaranga Shakti or Chit Shakti or superior energy, this superior Shakti, this is the first or internal Shakti. This internal is internal because it's about the very confidential or intimate aspects of Krishna's Leela in Goloka Vrindavan. And then that Baladeva manifests all those bodies, and the type of energy or Shakti or potency that is called is Bal. Very easy to remember. Bal Shakti. Bal Shakti manifests from Baladeva Prabhu. It's all power, all strength. Ultimately, Baladeva Prabhu holds up all the universes on his hoods as Anantashesh. He's holding them all as if they were just little insignificant mustard seeds. He's so powerful. He's even more powerful than that in that he is Akhand Guru Tattva. That means he has the power to actually enter the consciousnesses of the jivas and influence them. He can't make them, but he can influence them towards their nature of being attracted to Radha and Krishna. Guru can do this. He can't make you because ultimately you always have independence. You always have a choice. You can come to the water, they say. They can take the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yes, in this sense, because we're talking about Shakti, we're dividing it into three. Ultimately, of course, you're not thinking that. But right now, in your own body, you have your body, which may be healthy or unhealthy. But you have your consciousness, which can be completely different. It's like Ram Prabhu here. You know, his body is suffering like crazy, but his actual consciousness can be completely different to that. In the spiritual world, this is not any different. The body is a spiritual body. Nevertheless, it's different from the state of consciousness, even though it's one. Can you understand? Krishna, consciousness, and Srimati, the sweetness of the taste of the consciousness. What we're discussing, Didi, is the Tattva of Shakti. In the reality, it's not that the gopis are thinking even for a single second. No one is even aware of this. We're not even conscious of this. I think you're overlapping what you are aware of in existence and what is the analysis of it. We are analyzing these three functions that have come from Swarup Shakti and how they affect the existence and consciousness and sweetness in Goloka Vrindavan. So we're like making them separate. Ultimately, they're one. Sat, Chit, Ananda. That is what their bodies are made up of. They're not any separate. But to describe and explain these functions and how they manifest the world is remarkable. Because if we couldn't explain this, no, turn it round again a bit more because it keeps on hissing. Yeah, that's better. Or turn it down a little bit. It just keeps hissing a bit. If we couldn't explain this the way we're explaining it, then it would create, you wouldn't have so much confidence in the Shastra. But because the scripture can explain all of these aspects in such minute, incredible detail, then it gives the sadhak so much more confidence in the reality of that absolute existence. It's like if you go to some of the ashrams that are just practicing Krishna consciousness and you ask them, what is the supreme reality? I was in Haridwar a little while ago, and they have no idea of how to explain these topics. No one else can explain these topics. But if we are gifted with this knowledge and information coming from that world, it can analyze and explain everything. Because for many, it will be the final thing that can just tip us into that absolute paramatik shraddha, to have absolute faith in this reality. It helps, it's substantial. But what I'm actually explaining, I'm analyzing it. Ultimately, it's Sat Chit Ananda. All the bodies are made of Sat Chit Ananda. So they're one. But to define it, to thread it apart, and see how the acharyas have explained these different energies and how they act within the world. So Baladeva Prabhu is that Ishta Dev for all creation. And from Baladeva Prabhu is coming the quadruple expansion of Pradumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, and Sankarshan. And from that expansion comes Sankarshan again, and that manifests as the Narayan forms and all the Vaikuntha worlds. And from there come the Purush avatars, and then from the Purush avatars, this material world is manifesting. So we see that whole chain, so to speak, originating with Baladev Prabhu, originating with that Bal Shakti. It's not like Krishna directly is doing that himself. You might say then, in the same vein, well, everything is Krishna's energy. He's doing everything. But no, there's a separateness. Just like, for example, if a very wealthy man wants to build a building, it's all his energy that's going to build the building, but he'll employ an architect, he'll employ a foreman, he'll employ workmen. These men will be independent of that man with all the money and so on, but still they're not independent because they're under his direction. Similarly, everything is under Krishna's direction. But through his Swarup Shakti, he's given everything to his Swarup Shakti.
Like the architect?
No, he's the owner of everything. The architect is like in this world is Lord Brahma, or the architect in that world is Baladev, you can say. No, he's not the architect. He's just enjoying the pranaya of Radha's company.
But like all the things that are under Baladev's jurisdiction.
It's just energy. It's his energy. Try and understand more deeply. When we say jurisdiction, it's not that I understand it like we're talking about Shakti today. So it's this energetic influence that Baladev Prabhu, from his Bal Shakti, is putting all through the worlds, this power, this potency, this strength to create this world. It's not like it's not like he's saying, well, this should happen or that. He's not doing any of that. He's simply the strength behind the whole creation. That's actually what he is. Because from Lord Narayan are manifesting all those Vaikuntha. It's on so many levels that we're talking. Because why are the Vaikuntha planets even manifested initially? They're manifested to fulfill a certain mood that Krishna wants to have of awe and reverence. That mood of worship. We can get a taste from someone worshipping us. We can understand it. We don't want it, etc. We don't think it's a very high taste, but still, nevertheless, we all have experienced that. When someone is honoring you very greatly, oh, very nice, yes, yes. You know, there's a taste there. And Krishna also likes that taste. When everyone in Vaikuntha is fanning him, playing conches, and it's all very magnificent. It's very wonderful. Krishna likes it, otherwise he wouldn't have manifested it like that. So there's that mood that is behind the creation of Vaikuntha. That is coming from the Chit Shakti. And then whatever pleasure is happening in Vaikuntha is coming, it's called Vaikuntha Ananda. The pleasure in the spiritual realm is called Prem Ananda. In the Vaikunthas it's called Vaikuntha Ananda. And again it drops down to another level in Kailash, or Shiva Loka, Shiva's place, still in the spiritual world. That is Shivananda, that bliss is manifesting. And then there is the same dynamic of creation by Baladev Prabhu. In that, all the pleasure potency all the way through. If you see that cosmic map in the back of Brahma Samhita, it's all red on one side. All that red, that impression, that Ananda is all manifesting from Sri Radha directly. And the creation is all manifesting from Baladeva directly. So you have Premananda, Vaikunthananda, Shivananda, and then in the Brahman, you have Brahmananda, and in this world you have Jad Ananda, dead pleasure. So this is, all this pleasure potency is all directly manifesting from Radha. Like, for example, in Vaikuntha, those feminine personalities, the Lakshmis, they are the ones who are pleasing Lord Narayan. In every single one of the Vaikuntha planets, there are so many Lakshmi Devis, and they're all and just like in the Purush avatar, like Rama Devi, she's described as massaging the feet of Karanadakshay Vishnu. She is also a manifestation from the Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, coming down to the consort of Mahavishnu there. And then Durga Devi herself, she's a shadow of Yogamaya. So it's all the feminine. So you have these two different influences, and to be able to describe them clearly, they're given names. So there's Bal Shakti, Chit Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. Or you can say, instead of Chit Shakti, you can say Gyan Shakti. This is in the spiritual dimension, in the highest conception. And then in the Tatashta, in Jiva Shakti or Jiva Tattva, this knowledge is manifesting as Brahma Gyan, knowledge of the Brahman. That's the form, that's how the knowledge manifests from Tatashta Shakti. Tatashta Shakti is coming from Swarup Shakti. Again, Krishna has his reasons for this Tatastha Shakti, which we'll discuss in a couple of days when we do Jiva Tattva. He wants to demonstrate his own divine compassion, his Karuna Shakti. His Karuna Shakti has no place in Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. Who's suffering? Who can he demonstrate his compassion to? Everyone is in total Anand. Vaikuntha Anand or Prem Anand or Shiv Anand or Brahmanand. What everyone's so happy, how can he demonstrate his karuna? So he makes a place so he can demonstrate his compassion. And we get stuck in there. That's our place. We'll discuss this. It's not stuck. It's different. I'm just being flippant here. But
Can they independently influence each other?
who? What?
Different chakras?
No, they're all integrally related to each other. The only way they can separate is how I've described already. If you're coming from this way and you're just focusing on the Brahman, then you just experience that Chit Shakti. If you're a yogi, you experience the Sat Chit. And if you're a devotee of Bhagavan, it's Sat Chit Ananda is what is available to you in that state of consciousness. So only in that sense can they be separated. Otherwise, there's no influencing, in a sense, of any difference. They are like one. We're talking about energy here. We're talking about something that's so inconceivable. I mean, just look at your mind for 1 second, what we've just been talking about for the last 15, 20 minutes. It's phenomenal. It's beyond what is possibly comprehensible for the limited jiva who cannot understand eternality. And yet we can sit and listen to it. Yet we can sit and hear it, and it will have an amazing effect of opening the consciousness into huge areas of inquiry. Where is Krishna? All of this, how is Krishna there? Because it's all being able to describe to some extent. Not completely. It's not possible to describe it completely. Otherwise, because words themselves are very limited in their expressions of what they can describe, but still we can get something of an impression, which is all we're hoping to get from hearing this. And then we go back and we chant. And while we're chanting, we are thinking of these impressions, and then perhaps some vigyan or some realization may spark through, if we choose to meditate something on these topics. And this will create a platform for the Ras Katha, for the Ras Leela to come on. It's always about the Ras Vichar that we want to reach for. It's not the Tattva Vichar. even though we're only discussing the tattva, because we have to make a structure, we have to make a picture. Simple. Gurudev explains this. Gopeshwar Mahadev is different to the traditional Lord Shiva in Kailash. He's in a feminine point, yeah. Baladev is Swamsa. All of the Swamsa avatars, not just Baladev, Kurma, Matsya, Varaha, Parashuram, etc., they are all, those personalities are Krishna himself. They are Krishna because Krishna is the Ishtadev of the Chit Shakti. Nevertheless, the forms are manifesting from the Swarup Shakti because it's work. Anything that is work is performed by the energy. So all of that work is performed by Swarup Shakti. Krishna can't do anything. He can only inspire the work to be done. By his own desire, he will inspire his manifestations to manifest from the Swarup Shakti. Not easy to understand. It's inconceivable. But this is just the stripped down tattva, so to speak. I haven't gone into any more detail than just that very basic aspect. And it is inconceivable. Again, we hit this like brick wall of inconceivable. We can't fathom it with our limited conditioned consciousnesses. All we can hope for is to have some mercy from Gurudev to accept it. By our accepting of it, then Krishna will gradually reveal it to us. This is actually the equation. It's that Sharanagat again. In every stage of our comprehension of these topics, Sharanagat has to, or surrender, has to come into play. So it can't, how can any of this in a sense be logically or rationally comprehended? But Baladev is like Kurma. What is the difference between Kurma and Baladev, Prabhu? They're both Krishna. Baladev is non-different to Krishna entirely, except he's white and he has different ways of doing things. It's still Krishna essentially. But the form, that is manifested from Swarup Shakti. And the Chit Shakti is coming from Krishna. So the knowledge potency within that form, it's all like going on simultaneously. The way I'm describing it probably makes it more difficult in a sense to get a picture because it's breaking it down and then we're looking at it in an analytical way. But actually, when we have, it's just like you can give an analogy of music. You know, if you separate all the notes and you see the different scales, it kind of takes some of the sweetness out of the music for a while. But then when you understand the way the symphony is rolling, is going in its waves, then very easily you can hear it in a more finely tuned way. So don't try too hard to comprehend these topics with the rational mind, because I think it will be to our detriment. You have a very rational mind. I have also. That's why I like your questions. But still, it needs to be something purified and acceptance. It's Sharanagati again. The skeptic is considered very healthy in Krishna consciousness because you have to really read a lot and you have to hear a lot to be satisfied. No, this doesn't make sense, I've got to look in this Shastra. This doesn't make sense, I have to hear about this, I have to hear about that. And you're constantly examining. But we pray for that time when my thirst for just the sweetness just the sweetness will be the most desirous thing in my heart. And then this analytical study we won't even remember it, so to speak. Because it's understood that you learn this gyan that we're discussing now, and as soon as we have even the slightest scent of vigyan, we just completely discard all this. We just completely leave it alone. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Like what you learnt in school, in your up to 15 or 16, you totally discard when you go to the next school. Like practically none of it's there really necessary. It's like the gopis, Gurudeva's described, they didn't walk around thinking of this tattva, vichara, etc. They only thought of their relationship with Krishna. So in the Tatashta section, or the Jiva Shakti, which is the second layer, we have Brahma Gyan coming from Chit Shakti, and we have the body of the Jiva manifesting from Baladeva Prabhu, the minute Jiva's form, and we have Brahm Ananda. So this is in the second energy. We have the Chit is first, Chit Shakti. Now we're talking Tatashta Shakti or Jiva Shakti. And the third is Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti or Bahiranga Shakti, or the inferior energy. From that is manifesting knowledge. But what type of knowledge? That's called Bautik Gyan. That Bautik Gyan is just knowledge or empirical knowledge, knowledge of objects in this world. If we try to use that Mayic Gyan to access the Antaranga or the supreme energetic place of Gokul, it's totally impossible. We have to be inspired by transcendental vision, which is gifted from Guru. We cannot do it with just the mundane consciousness. We have to have. So, hearing this should give us some enthusiasm and greed to have that transcendental wisdom or knowledge. How can I get it? To understand these topics, I must get Guru's mercy. Somehow or other, I must get the Vaishnav's mercy. I must get the mercy of the Dham. We are all looking for this mercy, this avaroha, this descending process of receiving mercy. I must make my receptacle strong so that when the mercy comes, it doesn't just trickle out of my ears. This can happen also. You can be living in Vrindavan in a very wonderful situation, circumstance, etc., but just frivolously wasting your days and hours and months and years just go by, and you're not really getting to grips with what this valuable jewel is that I can actually access now. This jewel is available to us now. We are all so fortunate. Don't think about a time when you will die, because you will never die. You are spirit soul. Death is simply a material consideration. It's not a reality for the soul. We can be in any sort of bodies, but right now we're in Sri Vrindavan Dham. We have every single opportunity to absorb the highest principles of knowledge known to man. So we don't want to. So
like something like the material mind, the material intelligence, like the energy of the Swarup Shakti becomes like understands the spiritual subject matter.
yes, he's saying that by the energy of the Swarup Shakti does this material conditioned consciousness gradually soften to allow itself, yes, go away like the clouds actually dissipate. Yes, forget my material conditioning and become so. I mean, what is the principal quality of Raganuga that Mahaprabhu has come to give? It is Lobha Mayi, it's greed. This greed is what is going to give me that entrance. So from that Swarup Shakti is coming that greed. Understand, Gopi? You understand what I just said? Okay. So we have these three levels: Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, Maya Shakti. In Chit Shakti, the Sandini is represented by this Shakti called Bal Shakti, and the Pladini is Kriya Shakti, or Shakti for activity. So we should make copies of this diagram because it's very simple when you have the diagram in front of you to see how it's what I'm saying. And then Jiva Shakti is Brahma Gyan, the Jiva's minute form, and Brahmananda, the bliss of Brahm. And then you come to the Maya Shakti, and Maya Shakti's knowledge is Bhautik Gyan, knowledge of things in this world, and the Bal Shakti is manifesting in the forms of all the universes. This is the creation in all these universes in the material world are coming from Bal Shakti, from Baladeva Prabhu, the Sandini or Sat Shakti. Everything that has existence. Many times on the morning walks, Gurudev would just ask, what is the meaning of Sat? He would ask so many times this question, you remember? Or what is Sattva? It means that which has existence. That's what it means. Sat, Sat Shakti, that which has existence. This is Baladev. And Chit Shakti is that which has knowledge. Now, knowledge of what? In the spiritual world, knowledge of relationships. In Jiva Shakti, knowledge of Brahm, knowledge of the Absolute. And in Maya Shakti, it's knowledge of mundane things in this world. So see how this energy unfolds into the different layers. We're so blessed to have these descriptions of what is Shakti, what is energy. Krishna has so many energies, and we're able to actually explain these energies. So if something is able to be explained, then it's more likely to be understood. So without these explanations, how will you have any idea of what is the nature of this creation that we live in? It's all there in these three stages. So in the Maya Shakti or Bahiranga, the inferior energy, it's Bhautik Gyan, all these material worlds, and the pleasure, as I've described, is called Jad Ananda, dull pleasure. So if we just remember, to begin with, all I've done really in this whole class is just explain the different terminologies. We haven't really gone into the profound depths of these truths. We've just painted a picture. That's as much as I can do at one time. If you already understand the picture, then we can start to swim within the picture and start to appreciate more significantly how these energies interact with each other, what are their relationships with each other, etc. But initially, we just need to have that impression of what is Shakti Tattva, what is the bare bones of it, the structure. This is all I'm hoping to actually achieve in these Dasa Mula classes, really, is just to try and paint the picture of the whole Dasa Mula. And then you will feel some confidence. Yes, I've understood that, I've understood. If I begin speaking too esoterically, how are you going to capture that? It won't be so easy. So I've just decided to present it in this quite simple way, actually. Okay? I'll stop. So this is Shakti Tattva in a nutshell. Chit, Maya, Jiva, and Bal, Kriya, and Gyan Shakti, Brahmanand, Jadanand, the creation of this world. How is Krishna manifesting? Everything is coming from his energy. But Krishna is the one desiring that. We have to see this distinction at the same time, no distinction. Dui, Vastu, Veda, Nahi. No difference. But in Rasa Tattva, so much difference. We'll discuss that tomorrow. Yes? Yeah, who will photocopy? Somebody want to photocopy? Yeah. You should make 20 copies. It's very helpful. I wanted to superimpose this over that universal map because it sits over the top of it actually. But I've been too lazy. Haven't done it yet. Just now coming. If I can stay here by Tungavidya's mercy long enough, then I can do all these things that I think. But you're working for them. You're like the demigods. You're like the demigods. If the demigods are not pleased, then how can we go forward also? Okay? Do you understand something? Janava, you understand something? Just a picture. If we get a picture of how this Shakti manifests from Swarup Shakti, who is Swarup Shakti, is of course Sri Radha. If I spent the time just discussing Sri Radha and her pastimes, then you wouldn't get this type of information. Okay, Ramji? Understand? Something? Something? Janavi? Abhiram could have given this class a lot better than me. He's knowing all this. He's just come to examine.
The best thing I ever learned was Sirana Maharaj's chart. I have one quick question, Maharaj. It's about Brahmananda. The Goswami says this Nitya Seductive Bhavasya verse. So is Brahmananda actually like inherent in the jiva, or is it some kind of sadhya that is attained?
Brahmananda is an aspect of Premananda. It's an aspect of the bliss, the supreme bliss. If it's just a realization of the Brahman, of the Brahma Jyoti, for example, then it's only limited. It's only taken, like you said, Nitya Siddhyasya, Prakritamiti Sadhyate, that the potential for Premananda or Vaikunthananda is present within the jiva. But if he doesn't fulfill his potential, then it's only limited to Brahmananda. So certainly Brahmananda is there within every single jiva. The potential. Nitya Siddhyasya Bhavasya Prakritamiti Sadhyate, like you said. That potential. Does that answer that? It's there. Okay. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Radha Gopinath Ju ki jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Radha Gopinath Ju ki jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhaveva cha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnave namo namaha.